Good evening and welcome to tonight's session of Sublime Leadership. Today in the first phase, I'll have a brief discussion on Leadership 4.0. And in the second session, we'll have a military leader, a very experienced military leader, Lieutenant General Sabbir Ahmed, with whom we'll share some of the leadership thoughts. So let's see what is Leadership 4.0. Leadership 4.0 is nothing but leadership relevant to fourth industrial revolution. Now let us recap what are the industrial revolutions that we had. The first industrial revolution started in 1784 with the invention of steam engine. And it continued for about 100 years. Then we started the second industrial revolution. That started with the invention of electricity, and that generated mass production. The third industrial revolution, it started in 1969 with the invention of computer and information technology. And the fourth industrial revolution started in 2000, and it is cyber physical system, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, big data. All these things are relevant to the fourth industrial revolution. If we just take a look at what fourth industrial revolution means, we'll see that by 2025, the artificial intelligence market will grow by 76%. The automated vehicle segment will grow by 37%. The IoT or Internet of Things, that will grow by 37%. And virtual and automated reality market will grow by a whopping 92%. And by 2025, we'll have 4 billion connected people, 4 trillion revenue opportunity, 25 plus million apps, 25 plus billion embedded intelligent system, and about 50 trillion GBs of data. So then what is Leadership 4.0? Well, the Leadership 4.0 is a strategy and concept increasingly referred to by the academic institutions with regards to a new style of leadership for the fourth industrial revolution. Industry 4.0 is often spoken in terms of digital technology rather than employees. In fact, it is the technology of Industry 4.0 that many employees fear will replace their jobs. And that's where Leadership 4.0 can play a big and important part of how Industry 4.0 is integrated into a new working life. So what is the environment Leadership 4.0 is going to present? Number one, competition. So we must react quickly to faster, younger, and dynamic organizations emerging to challenge the market leaders. Hierarchy, well, we have to free up decision-making process to speed up the pace of change. As far as the technology is concerned, we must harness the talents of individuals to maximize technological advancements. Hyperconnectivity, quick to take advantage of the opportunities of hyperconnectivity, and about transparency, we must manage with open and honest communication. Now let's see the principles of Leadership 4.0. So a couple of principles. Principle one, mindsets, not skill set. What makes leadership inefficient in today's ceremony is not the lack of skills. It is the combination of a constantly changing environment coupled with a transfixed mental attitude. Principle two, focus on what works. If we look at the learning landscape in the economic environment, it is easy to see that it is not focused, especially on innovative forms of working and leadership. Principle three, prioritize differently. People who observe their thoughts and emotions objectively without evaluation struggle to understand that they are always controlled by old patterns of thought. So we must prioritize differently. Now let's go on to the leadership challenges that Leadership 4.0 is going to present. Number one is visionary mindset and change management. Leaders need to have good understanding of the digital market and visionary mindset to manage digital disruption. Skills to manage multidisciplinary teams. The leaders must have the ability to bring together diverse capabilities to form teams able to solve complex problems. Communicating in different media forms due to the advent of digital age and the permeation of social media, leaders need to learn how to use different digital platforms. Computational thinking capabilities within teams. Leaders need to cultivate data talent and develop a plan to build, buy, develop, or partner with improved data and automation know-how. Innovation and adaptive thinking in the workforce. Creativity is needed to make good decisions, rethink about business system, and come up with ideas, which is drastically changed in that and different. So lastly, there are the skills that the leaders of Leadership 4.0 needs. The skills will be cognitive flexibility, negotiation, service orientation, decision making, coordinating with others, people management, creativity, critical thinking, complex problem solving, and emotional intelligence. Let us take one by one. So what is cognitive flexibility? Mental ability to switch between thinking between two different concepts and to think about multiple concepts simultaneously. About negotiations, they will have to operate in an environment where there will be multiple parties. So the leaders must be dexterous in negotiating with other teams or other partners. Service orientation, thinking first of others rather than for themselves, cares about the individual needs of all of their followers. But decision making, you understand, as I said, that it has to be fast, managing good decisions for everyone involved, and therefore should have some kind of framework for which to make those decisions. Coordinating with others, as I said, there will be multiple parties, so you have to coordinate and work together to develop synergy. People management, the leaders must be able to manage people and develop their work activities and their performance with goal of optimizing efficient use of talents. And creativity, on the one hand, creativity is needed to make decisions fast and good. On the other hand, only creative leaders have the ability to rethink their business models. Critical thinking, understanding the logical connections between ideas, identify the relevance and importance of arguments, direct inconsistencies. Complex problem solving, identifying complex problems and reviewing related information to develop and evaluate options and implement solutions. And lastly, emotional intelligence, something that is getting increasing importance. It is the ability to understand and manage our own emotions and those of the people around us. People with a high degree of emotional intelligence know what they're feeling, what their emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect others. So that's all we had about this small brief on Leadership 4.0. Now we'll have the leadership talk. Today we have Lieutenant General Sabbir Ahmed, retired, who is one of the finest officers of Bangladesh Army ever had. He is the Sword of Honor of 6th BML Armed Corps, and he had served almost all the very important capacities of the Army, both staff-wise, instruction-wise, and command-wise. Mentioned that he had commanded 2 infantry divisions, and thereafter he commanded the Army Training and Doctrine Command. So it doesn't take any more mention to identify who General Sabbir is. Let us now listen to him about what he feels about military leadership and corporate leadership as we juxtapose these two and ask him about his views, but the similarities, dissimilarities, and other experience sharing opportunity that we also will have. and the young leaders will have some of the opportunity to ask some of the questions to him so that he can answer those questions. So now let us go directly online with Lieutenant General Sabbir. Thank you, General, for being with us. I know you're busy, but still the young leaders of the country want to listen from you. I have only a couple of questions from you that will perhaps educate our young leaders. The first question that I have is, what are the similarities and dissimilarities that you have experienced in the military leadership and the corporate leadership?
Thank you very much. Very nice question. On the leadership aspect in both the world, whether it is a military world or a corporate world, if you talk in one sentence, whether is there any similarity or dissimilarity, but I would say basically there is no dissimilarity. There is no differences, because in both the field, whether it's in the military or it's in the corporate world, it is the art of influencing people to achieve the desired goal and also achieve the end product or end state. So in that way, there is no differences. But on the leadership on the two side, in the military leadership, it is in the military world, the leadership is people-centric, and also in the corporate world, leadership is the people-centric. In the leadership role, it depends on the people, those who are seeing the leadership style. As it is said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it is the person who is seeing which kind of leadership style is being followed. So in that way, there might be some differences. In the corporate world, it is decisions are made by not by the owner, but decision is made by the directors for the profit of the organization and also to make business out of the organization. So in that way, it differs from the military way. But let us now come back to the similarities. On the similarity side, both the leadership solves problem and they overcome challenges. And on the second one, to derive a result from an undertaking in the military world as well as in the corporate world, both of them need information. So in the military world, they need information. In the corporate world, they also need information. In both the field, they have to set out their strategies. They have to set out their plans, and they have to execute in a manner that is conducive to the articulated plan or the strategies. And in all cases, whether it's in the military or it's in the corporate world, both has to defeat or beat their opponents. This is one. This is the two. And I said in the beginning that both the field, they have to influence the people. And since they have to influence the people, there has to be either transactional or style can be transformational. So it will be a mix of both the things through which the leaders in both the world will influence the people. And both the situation, they have to negotiate with the opponent, negotiate with the competitors, negotiate with the adversaries, negotiate with the peers, negotiate with the vendors in the corporate world, negotiate with the similar companies. So in the military also, the negotiation is to be made with these opponents in terms of plan, in terms of the execution, in terms of the logistic management, in terms of supply chain management. So in both the cases, it is seen that both of them has to negotiate, and they have to have a greater degree of negotiation skill. And one more thing that I always feel that the world is full of negotiation. You negotiate right from your home and to your workplace and in the field, in the office, everywhere. Every day is a negotiation. And few of the differences that I'll now highlight, which is very striking, and then I believe in that. The difference is in the form of a structure. Military is a non-profit organization, but corporate world is not a non-profit organization of the business world. they have to make the profit. So military is non-profit organization and the corporate world is profit-oriented organization. So there is a big difference in this one. In the field of budgeting, the military doesn't have to think about where the money is coming from. They have a certain allocation, and out of them they plan their all activities. But in the corporate world or the business world, it is not so. They have to earn every penny, and as much they earn, they have to budget and they have to spend, and they have to fulfill their financial requirement in that regard. And in the change management, in the corporate world, the change management is easy because decision is taken by the boards, decision is taken by the director, or decision is taken by the owner. Whoever is this one, in case of any change is required in any of the plan, in the proceedings, in order to explore different fields, the boards can take the decision rightly. But in the military, the change management is a bit tedious, because once you are in a certain plan, it is approved by the government, it is approved by the hierarchy. Thereafter, if you want to make a change, then it becomes, you have to go through the long process, so that, and then it is time consuming. And there is a big difference in the culture. In the culture, I mean to say the practice that both the fields do in the military and also in the corporate world. In the military culture, the oath is taken, and then loyalty is to the government. And it is always said that military is loyal to the government in power. So in that way, the allegiance is to the government and the constitution. But in the business world, needless to say, because I'm now working in a business organization, so I understand that you have to be very loyal to your boss, and it is the allegiance that you have to show it to the boss. So there's a big difference in the culture. And in one sentence, if I say that in the corporate world, we depend on the personal expertise, but in the business, in the military world, we depend on the personal character, but on the business world, we depend on the personal expertise. So there is a big difference in this one. And there is another big difference is their working habit. It is said the military is on duty 24 hours, but is it not so in the corporate world? So sometimes it is bounded by the time frame in the corporate world or the business world, except for a few. But in the military world, a battalion commander or a company commander would get a call at night at 2 o'clock in the morning and say that he's one of the soldier or one of the member of his outfit has met an accident or has a problem in the family. The commanding officer or the company commander has to address that right at that moment. So there's the interaction and this is the touch between the commander and the undercommands, but which is not so in the case of the corporate world. Although one or two cases happens, but generally it is not so. So military responds more to the welfare and the personal need as well. As I said also in the before, that in the planning process, to set a strategy or set a policy, it is easy in the corporate. It is easy in the corporate world, but it is not so in the military world, because the military has to take into cognizance different implications as well. The government, the nation, the mood, and the sentiments of the environment, all these things. The military work in different stations. Say in my 35 years of career, I have moved about 20-25 places. Today in Bangladesh, next day in a remote corner of Bangladesh, another day, another period in out of the country for training, for international engagement, like so. And we have only one military. So even if you don't like my service, I cannot go and change into another army. But which is not so in the case of the corporate world. If you don't like a business, if say for example a man in the commercial, he does not like working in one commercial of the X, but with his expertise, with his experience, and with his network, he can definitely go to another company and get another job in the corporate world, but which is not so. So bindings in the organization is more in the military. This is in short the because if I talk, I have to go on much longer. But this is in short.
Thank you, General. Thank you so very much. You have to listen to your some of the stories of your vast experience as well. Next, I will not ask a question. Could you kindly share some of the experiences that you have gathered over this 35 years long literary career, which would be important for the young leaders who are listening to you right now?
Very good. I'll start from my early stage of my life when I was a single lieutenant, and then I went up to the lieutenant general. So different stages, different leadership style, different forms of execution. And as I said, that if someone said that the person who sees, he evaluates what is the leadership style. So leadership technique over the period of time has been different. Now, I give you one example, being while I was GOC of 24 Infantry Division. One of the occasions, there was a big accident in Chittagong town, because you know the military has to work in aid of the civil power as well. So in that context, I had to, once I heard the news, thereafter the overbridge collapsed, and then there were accidents, and the people were under the girders, and the people's sentiments roused to the extreme end, and there were almost like clashes with the police and the local people, and the area was became very disturbing. Once we heard the news, then we were asked to assist in that situation. That was very interesting. When one of the commanding officer went with his advance party, and he said that it is impossible to enter into the area because it's about 800 to 1,000 years area is full of crowd, and it is impossible to get into the crowd. Then I said, your approach should be in a manner that which gives an indication to the people that you are coming for the help. So you get the ambulance, you get the fire service, and you take them along with you so that they have a solace and they have a confidence that these people are coming for assisting the people. And you have also follow it by the records, follow it by the cranes, so that the people see that help or the assistance is coming in a real form to save the people. And that's the decision that I had to give on that right at that moment, because since he was not being able to enter into that area, with my direction, of course, it was a consultative decision. And then they entered into that area and took about next 2-3 days time and recovered that area. What is the style that I followed there? It was more or less a direction. It was like being with him. And then I followed, I went to the area very soon. It gave a feelings to the local people that we are with them. We took along with them and went to the spot and started our recovery work. And then my commanding officer, my soldiers also saw that GOC is present in the area, and then the leader is present in the area. So that gave them the confidence that whatever we do, we'll be able to do in the right way. So it is the presence, it is the personal interaction, it is the personal touch, it was the right direction, it was the provisioning of resources that has helped to assist in the situation. Throughout my command, I followed one principle, that was my command philosophy, that I will give direction, and along with the direction, there will be resources. And along with the resources, we'll take care of the administration. And after the administration, then we'll see the supervision, which is monitoring, mentoring, guiding, and direction is the policy end, and then resources the things that he would need for accomplishing his task, and administration is the well-being of the individuals. So those are the things that always was incorporated in any of the undertaking. And Soon after, I had joined the Radisson Hotel, and I am working as the managing director. I am giving two examples side by side, because after the COVID situation, the situation became very critical, because we had been starting suffering loss from the month of March, April, May, June, July, and then it was a time indefinite time. Then what he did, from the leadership position, we had evolved new business strategy. We have evolved the cost-cutting measures. We have involved the thinking beyond the box. We have restructured the business idea, and then we have brought in on the room division. We have brought in the new thoughts by which the people can come into stay in the rooms, and then also in the food and beverage, then in the gymnasium, in the health side. So everywhere there were changes. So it demanded a lot of work, lot of thoughts, lot of ingenuity, which had allowed to recover. And we are making profit now. Not profit in the manner that we would make in the 219, but not incurring the loss to the manner in a manner that we won't be able to support our staff. There are various measures in the cost cutting, in the austerity, and then we have come to the stable conditions. You would like to have more examples in that?
One more from the military service, if you have any, like from the active service where leadership.
Yeah, from the military service, yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, go ahead, please.
On the military side, since I was the General Officer Commanding of the Chittagong Hill Tracts, so there were various military situations in the Hill Tracts. And there were incidents with the insurgents, and there were illegal intruders into the area with the arms and ammunition. So we had, on the basis of appropriate information, we had to conduct operations. Now, what kind of operation has to be conducted? Which would be the organization of the, what would be the organization of the operational group? Then what would be the resources or the weapons and equipment that has to be carried? And how this will be neutralized? How the damage will be minimized? So those is to be planned. Say in the south, in Khagrachori area, there were illegal. We had information about the illegal intruders and also the miscreants movement. So we had to block those areas and then start the cordon and search operation. And then we have to identify the bad guys and segregate them with the good people and maintain so that there is no repercussion, maintain an environment so that there is no repercussion out of the good people against the security forces. So those kind of things that used to be done. And was to have the restraint so that the collateral damage does not occur into that area. So we have to look into the matter of collateral damage. We have to look into the matter of the behavior. We have to look into the matter of the cordon and search methodology, and we have to be very careful about the miscreants and the locals. So those kinds of things has to be very intricately and very extensively briefed and rehearsed, organized, and then operation has to be conducted. So there are many occasions we had to do it. We had also situation like we had one time information near the Myanmar border side about the illegal poppy culture. So that was also fell into the domain. So we had destroyed the fields and we also found out the different camps into that area, and those were also destroyed. So we have to take extra care so that you are intruding an area which is a primary forest, and then helicopter cannot land. So the physical hardship or physical ability and the ability of the command echelon and also the performers or the soldiers has to be in a manner, those have to be selected well. So the physical fitness and courage and the valor, those are also one of the items that has to be considered before selecting the group of people. And tenacity, because you have to leave off the ground and continuous for 4 or 5 days, move stealthily into the area of operation and conduct your operation. So those are the kind of things. And in the selection procedure, in giving direction, in organizing the people, so those were looked into in a manner that the operation or the objective is achieved.
Thank you, General. The last question that I have tonight for you is that some recommendations for our young and up-and-coming leaders, that how would they turn out to be better leader in the future, please?
I always say that knowledge is power. Everyone has to read, and they have to read the different leadership style of the different leaders, the military leaders as well as the corporate board leaders. They have to know about the styles and what clicked them to achieve this success. So I will put it in the manner that one has to have a courage, one has to have competence, one has to have character. The character will give him the foundation, and the competence will develop him the skill, and the courage will give him the energy to do the things. So everything will come from this knowledge. And I also believe in that one has to understand his under command. So there are a few things, like one has to be have few qualities like self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skill. The self-awareness means that he understands what he is. Self-regulation means when to stop, when is to start. And then empathy is the feeling for the other people. Motivation is the motivation in this inner self of one individual. And social side, one has to be understanding how to continue and how to maintain the network. So these are the few things. I once again summarize this one because this one I was all very dear in my mind. One has to have a good character, one has to be competent, one has to have courage. And then he is to be imbibed with the quality of self-awareness, self-regulation, and then empathy, motivation, and social skill. That falls in the domain of emotional intelligence. But these are the qualities that one must inculcate and develop into himself.
Thank you so very much, General. Our leaders are much enlightened than before. We've taken almost 23 minutes of yours. So let's call it a night. Thank you so very much, General. Thank you.
Thank you very much.